Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I have been trained in all the psychic skills in addition to having a degree in political science. And because of the nature of my life, I didn't understand why I would get a degree in political science. It seems to go against my nature. I understand it today, not that a degree in political science can help anyone. I did the map of the United States as I do every time I have a podcast chat. And I widened the lens to see if I can get you to understand what it is that's going on. So let's start with my face. And for those of you that say, oh, come on, get to the politics, I am getting to the politics. See this bruise here? This is not from a partner. This is from astral forces. Astral forces are astral particles of emotions. And this part of human beings, which gets so unattractive as we age, holds a lot of astral force, repressed emotions. A lot of times when I do mantras, I tap here because I want to finish clearing this. I have done so much crying between yesterday and today that some of that astral force was released and it literally created a bruise. This is the second time that's happened. Okay, why am I talking about this now? Let's go to 9/11. Be patient. Go ahead and do the Apana Mudra and put the back of your hands on top of your knees and be patient because we may be able to avoid natural disasters if you can actually understand what I'm explaining to you. And I am getting a little bit tired of all of this. The gap in terms of knowledge is so big that people that have this additional knowledge that could make a difference, we get really tired and we also get beaten up. Okay, so 9/11. Listen to me. Pay attention. Breathe, because you can apply it to your home also. 9/11, the towers went down. The people in New York, yeah, I'm having trouble with my ears. The people in New York were but everybody pitched in to help. And nobody really expressed the rage that they felt. They were very busy in terms of New York City helping out. They swallowed the rage. Okay? They swallowed it. Okay. 9/20, 9 days after 9/11, I had a panic attack. And I wasn't prone to panic attacks, and it was really big. So I was in my car. I went to my office and I went ahead and sat in front of my Buddha because I knew this was big. And what I found was able, what I understood was I was in the middle of a panic attack that had nothing to do with my personal life. I was connected to Mother Earth, and there was a break in Mother Earth under New York City that extended all the way to London. I'm like, wow, oh wow. And who do I tell that to? But as I always do, I went ahead and I documented it. I put it on my website. I also said it on Univision and News, and people heard, oh, okay, she's so bright. Has no meaning. On 9/20, when I had the panic attack, I said, there's a new break, a new fault line, and there is an opportunity for earthquakes in New York. Well, there's no earthquakes in New York. I said it will be between 4 to 6 weeks after the break that there could be an earthquake in New York. October 20th, there was an earthquake in New York City, epicenter New York City. Everybody called me on the phone. Oh my God. What was that all about? It was the astral force of rage of New Yorkers that wasn't processed. Mother Earth took it on as Mother Earth always does. Wonder what Mount Etna is now spewing out. What did they take on probably a long time ago that they're now spewing the volcano there? So we got a new fault line. And I never expected to get validation for that. But several years ago, scientists said that there was a new fault line under New York. And I don't remember exactly where it extended to, but when it formed, it extended from New York to London. What's the relationship with London with that? Don't know. Okay, why am I saying this now? This weekend, if you listened to the news and you weren't careful, it sounded like World War III started and there was bombing of Russia. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not up to this. And then I thought, we can't be bombed in the United States if we don't have excess fire. So all we have to do is get the whole country or a small piece of the country or a group of people that do that all day long to process that excess fire through a mantra. It's not going to happen. Tonight I'm going to do it with my group. But I'm going to show you what it is that we need to deal with. We have a new break. Remember that I kept drawing these pyramids, and this is May. Listen carefully, because later on you're going to be able to say, oh my God, she said this. Why didn't we pay attention? May 29. These are pyramids in the Gulf of Mexico that are coming up. But I've been drawing this for months. Well, it turned out that like 2 or 3 weeks ago, science said that the ocean floor near Florida collapsed. They've never seen anything like that. They don't know where this is going to end up. I mean, every time I turn on the TV and I'm flipping things to watch because I can't leave my home yet, there's at least one news report about the ocean floor collapsing in Florida. It is, by the way, where they're right between Tampa and right here. Okay, so where are we at? Well, where's the map? On Saturday, this is the map I sketched today. But I had sketched it on Saturday. Here it is. Apparently, there were some arrests or news of arrests, or people in Florida found out that they were going to be arrested. Sex trafficking. And this energetically in the other dimensions is what was created. Florida doesn't look good now. This is what Florida looks like. And something broke. Like after 9/11. The only problem is we already have a collapsed ocean floor that has scientists really upset. They don't know where this is going to end up. Well, I can tell you where it's going to end up. There's going to be natural disasters. And what they predicted 100 years ago, Florida under the water, totally accurate. This is preventable. This is the reason why I was born. Are you listening? Or do you want to know this and say, no, she just had a very nice weekend with a boyfriend? No, I didn't. Astral force did that. The astral force of the rage of the bad guys because somebody got arrested. What does it say here? And it says here arrests, and then is in Spanish because I was working with a Hispanic group when I did this. This is the beginning of a lot of arrests. So this is going to get worse. So you know what? We're going to go down because nobody is listening to new information. You can't just listen to it and apply it to yourself. And by the way, the astral force is what gives you cancer. It's what gives you your diseases. So this and the seafloor thing is not good. Now, remember how we're always doing something here with the The West Coast, it's cut away. Oh, it's in a fault line. But this was from the 29th also, and I wrote there, too many people are not happy. Emotions are astral force. Maybe I didn't say that a moment ago. Emotions are astral force. In Hinduism, emotions are astral force. Hinduism is 5,000 years old. Christianity is not 5,000 years old. Okay? And in Christianity, they teach you turn the other cheek, which they're not going to be teaching that much longer. Okay, so what am I supposed to do here? And what are we going to do about this? Now, if I had power and the economic backup, I could organize the proper people, which are simple people. We're not talking professional. Don't send me any professionals. We're talking simple people that can just sit and do mantras. Even though we hate, I love and accept myself. What is that? You end up acting like a vacuum cleaner. You vacuum up that hate and it gets processed out. You don't keep it. You are a vacuum cleaner. It gets picked up and taken out. So it's more than a vacuum cleaner. It's more like those leaf leaf blowers where they pick up the leaves, they put it in a bag and you throw it away. But you don't have to do that either. You just have to do it. But I'm not in a position to get to those people because of sex trafficking. Because I was used in sex trafficking. So nobody that's important or not important can get anywhere near me until all these people go to jail. And they're not going to jail yet. Okay. Update on my handler. He is parked in a home in a cottage in the back, laying on a bed with hospital IVs in him because he is very sick. This is a good thing. Why is he there? I don't really believe we got to the moon, but I was going to say, if we can go to the moon, can we pick up this man while he's loose? Nobody is safe in Miami, nor are they safe in Washington, D.C. Why is he still loose? Do we not have the capability to track? I've said his name for 5 years. I said his name until his lawyer daughter threatened my kids. Why are my kids getting threatened? Why can't I leave my house? Who is not doing their job? Or is this like a list of people that we have to take care of before Francis and Miami? Go right ahead. And who's going to deal with this? 9/11. New fault line due to astral forces. Okay, this came from the inside. This was not the outside in. That would have been making out with a man. This came from the inside. I actually haven't looked at the inside of my lip. And then we can talk about, just for 2 seconds, all of those people that you photograph that have these bruises on their left eye, that you are convinced that all of them, that means that they're what? I don't know, Illuminati? I don't know what it is. Those are bruises. I'm not saying that any of those people are good people or bad people. What I'm saying is that's astral force. And if they have those bruises, they put up a fight. Okay? But you don't know that. And you are never going to know it unless I get out of jail. When am I getting out of jail? Why are the bad guys loose and I'm not? I can't even get my nails done. I have to figure out what to feed my dog because I can't get to the supermarket. Now, sometimes I can. I get signs from the universe, from God, from whatever. Yeah, you can go now. And then for 3 days, don't walk out the front door. I can't walk out the back door either, other than 2 seconds. I'm sick of it. But you know what? You're going to be sorry if this doesn't get taken care of. I'm not talking, put me in front of camera. I'm talking, get out of my way. And then somebody facilitate, because I'm not sure that my bank account, I am doing nicely. Thank you. I have a lot of followers. I do fine. Thank God. But I'm not sure that I have enough of my own funding to do this on a national level as it needs to be done. And we just started with the arrests. We just started with the arrests. And this is happening. And the important one, which is the one that I did on Saturday, this is a break. Now, what does Trump know? Because he changed this from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Well, Trump, you got some problems in the Gulf of America that I have been documenting, because when I first started to document these triangles, which are Mayan pyramids that are coming up, the membrane that separates dimensions, that one has disappeared. The pyramids are coming up, and the pyramids offer stability. But before it was simply orange, and now it has a red tip. That's not a good thing. Law of attraction. You want the United States not to be bombed if there's a world war, which is where I was going, because you can hear me when I say that. You can't hear me when I say astral forces. You can't hear me when I say this, but you can hear me. What do we do so that we don't get bombed? We negotiate better. No, sir. You make sure that the United States does not have repressed emotions. Well, how do we do that? It's not hard, and that's the problem. Because you see, it has to be sophisticated, it has to be hard, it has to be a process, and it has to be okayed by people, and it has to be the proper people. Well, you know what? The proper people are the ones who got us here. And the proper people in your religions are the ones that what they're saying is not valid today. This is a new cycle. So you go ahead and you insist on your Christianity, knowing that we're supposed to be eliminated as human beings because we're not reproducing ourselves. You continue to honor the truncated version of Jesus Christ. I love Jesus Christ. I don't think you guys do. Okay? The marketing that they did on Jesus Christ, you don't have the benefit. What did Jesus do when he started his mission? He went and he had a baptism in the element of water. Releasing emotions. Something has to shift. I don't know of anybody else who could shift it. Even if we bring in the Buddhist monks, and please, I would love for them to come, because if they do their mandalas and they do their prayers and they stay focused, it's going to make a huge difference. But they're not going to be able to clear this. Several hundred people will be able to clear this. It's the law of attraction. Third World War, then you know what? Why did Afghanistan have 50 years of wars? Because they never cleared the rage of all the wars and the killings that were there before. There's never going to be peace there, ever. Now, another example. Why in New York City was there a section that was the textile industry? The law of attraction. It wasn't, oh yeah, that's a good place because everybody else. No, they started to move there, several, and then they created an energy of production of clothing. Silicon Valley, law of attraction. Congregation via the law of attraction, which is the law of magnetic resonance. There is a science behind it, not with all your words, and it's not that the scientists control to keep the dumb people out. You know what? The dummies are the scientists. They haven't helped us with anything that's really important, such as our kids. RFK, take care of that man. Yeah, apparently there's some mistakes in the studies. Oh, let's get them fixed. Some of the studies. Okay? So he didn't have the best person in charge of that. They tried to get it out quickly. They didn't do enough checking, whatever. And of course, it's being used as an excuse. Let me look at my notes first. Did you know? I love Barbara O'Neill. She needs a position in the U.S. government. She needs to be funded so that she can get her message out. I feel like crying. She needs to be funded so that she can get her message out to everybody. Do you know how much money you'll save on Medicare and Medicaid? Oh my God. Okay. Cancer. Did you know that cancer cells wake up at night? Cancer cells wake up at night. Francis, give me a break. Okay. When I read it, I went, yeah, okay, this is, they did the studies, and there was enough studies that they said they needed, and they changed the protocols. So now you get more medicine that kills the cancer cells, plus you, because remember that when they kill the cancer cells, they're killing you. Cancer cells wake up at night. Well, how can you have a cancer cell that wakes up at night? You want to explain that to me? You cannot explain that to me, and neither can medicine. Why do you ignore such big question marks? Cancer cells wake up at night. I didn't use that language. Okay? Interesting that we did a very nice video on that. We can't find it. Cancer cells wake up at night because there are spirits attached to it. That's why Jesus Christ, who's so much more than you know in Christianity, the Christianity that everybody's waving around as a flag, the first thing Jesus did was take out spirits. Do not talk to me about Jesus Christ unless you address the spirits issue. Acknowledge that they exist. Acknowledge it. You cannot have a pimple unless there's a spirit attached. You can't have a scar. You can't have a disease. You can't have any of those things without there was a spirit attached. How are you going to have a whole medical system without that? And that is why RFK can say, which I have said for years, and I've quoted the statistics, the United States has 17 most developed countries of the world. The one with the most expensive medical system is the United States. We all know that. Well, it's expensive here, those hospitals, those doctors. The least effective medical system of the 17 countries is the United States. The most expensive, the least effective. And people probably still fly here from other countries because we have this great medical system. But we don't believe in spirits. But we are going to be a hospital called St. Jude. A lot of the hospitals have Christian names. But don't you dare suggest that the doctor should see something. How about a little exorcism on that cancer? What? Blasphemy? No. No. Information. I didn't say that Jesus Christ first took out spirits. I didn't say that. I have a. The only reason I can talk like this is because none of you pay any of my bills. I don't work for an institution, and I have had to accept that even my family thinks that I'm crazy. I accept it. There's nothing to be done. Is it difficult? Yes. But now we're talking about a world war. Would we like to please address the law of attraction? Don't use the law of attraction because it sounds so new age. No. Use astral forces. And somebody look up, because I haven't been able to find it again, but the cradle of volcanology, which is Southern Europe, Mideast, and then Northern Africa, is also the cradle of civilization. I read that. I documented it. I can't find it again. Spirits. Now, it takes a long time for a place to develop a volcano due to repressed rage, which is accumulated astral particles, astral fire particles. So we're not going to be around when there is a volcano due to the reaction of the bad guys to the arrests. And this is just Florida. How about the Northeast? How about all these people that are not happy? And it looks like something big is happening in the West Coast. There's no place you can look where there's anything positive having to do with natural whatever in the West Coast. California is so beautiful. Yeah, but that's nobody's fault. Humans create reality. Okay? Let me look at my notes. So, law of attraction. If we don't have excess fire, we're not going to get bombed. So, we're going into this potential third world war with too many people too angry. The people that are angry that all that money was stolen, and the people that got caught. Repressed fire element caused a new fault line to be formed underneath New York City 6 weeks after 9/11. There was an earthquake. So when I looked up that earthquake in New York City, October 20th, I believe it was, not the 19th, I don't think it was 20th. Earthquakes, epicenter, New York City. There was one before that. And I asked people, I said, we never heard of an earthquake in New York City. I believe it was 5.5 weeks after the Bush election, where Gore, who many people thought had won, was told he lost. And New York was very Gore. We're talking the elections. What's his first name? I don't remember. Rage, repress rage, repress rage. What is cancer? Repress rage plus impotence. We don't feel as impotent today, the good guys, because Trump is taking care of things. The bad guys feel that. I'll go back to my notes. I want to find out. I don't understand. I love what Elon Musk is doing and what Trump is doing. I love it. I just don't understand the concept of that, such large amounts of money. Elon Musk is suing Whoopi Goldberg. Why did those ladies think they could get away with it? Because they did. This is a lot of lying. How did the press get here? And then I was thinking about history. Did they have the press in Roman times? Did they have a press in Egyptian times? When did this develop? We can't control the press, but I think it's really, really good that we have two people that are powerful and that, in my opinion, are very honorable and are going after this. They're going after the people that are lying. This is not right. I had a friend of mine who said the other day, I'm seeing all this stuff on TV, and this person died today, some movie star, but they didn't die. Well, how did they get away with saying, because they want you to click, that person died? I think that the only way that's going to get corrected is what Elon and Trump are doing, which is you're not going to get away with it. You just said a lie, and it's so obvious you said a lie. You're going to have to pay all this money. Oh, you can't pay the money? Then we'll take over your company, no problem. That has to happen. The lying has got to stop, and we're in Revelations. So let me go on to the other thing. I'm going to say it again. Why is my handler still loose? Even if he's in a bed in somebody's home, in the little cottage in the back of somebody's home, 10 blocks from Coral Gables. Why don't you call the mayor of Coral Gables? Ask him. I'm not accusing him of anything. Ask him. Where's this guy? He's obviously hiding out. But why is he still loose? Don't we have the ability to pick up these people? I was going someplace. Oh. So we are at the edge of war in so many different areas that I have a plan. Is it going to get any place? With my group, we can do some work, and we will. Later on tonight, we're going to work on the Gulf of Mexico and Florida. We put out a visualization and say, this is the visualization. We have the resources to do it. The problem is that people don't have the knowledge. That's what just what I'm bringing to the table, the knowledge. You set up a visualization. Okay, a peace visualization for the United States. And how do you do that? Well, all you do is visualize. Oh, I don't know how to visualize. Invent it with your mind. Use creativity, just invent it, which is how healings are done, by the way. Visualize a scene, always the same scene, with always the same elements. You can visualize Trump saying whatever. I'm not exactly sure what it should be, but let's just go with that. You visualize Trump and Elon, the two big names in my world, trying to get us to the right place, in my opinion. Um, but this is my podcast, so you know what? That's what goes here. Talking to each other on the phone or having on a plane together, traveling someplace, and have Trump saying to Elon, it's incredible how we achieved peace, a lasting peace. And then just you visualize that. They're sitting on the plane, nobody's bothering, there's no cameras, there's no lying, there's no, whatever. And just have an entire country or those who want to participate, just visualize that. And you can visualize Elon's son playing in the aisle. Always the same elements and just breathing. You just visualize it. That's how reality is created. And that's the bad thing about AI. Reality, the creation of reality starts with images. And AI produces images, all of which are portals to a planet that doesn't like us. It's really scary. The AI thing is really scary. I'm not going on a tangent on that because that is overwhelming. And that's, again, the lack of information. Portals. So the dolphins recommend that you put olive oil in your ears every day. Why? Because your ears, your nostrils, and your mouth are portals. What? Well, portals. Portal, puerta, door from other dimensions. And they're getting invaded now. Apparently, and I have to ask the dolphins, what is the quality in olive oil that helps? I'm doing it. So we don't know these things. And they're so simple. They're so simple. Um, I'm looking at why is my handler loose? Why is my handler loose? You can't, how hard is it? You have his name. If you know anything about the sex trafficking, the control of politicians in Washington via black magic, if you know anything about that, you know his name because he was in charge of all of that. Okay. You remember I talked to you, and then that we're finishing. Do you remember I talked to you about the Tortuguero Mayan prophecy? It was found in 2012 or after 2012. Remember when the world was supposed to end? The Mayans never said that. They said that the world that we knew was ending, and then we had to have a new calendar. Well, you know what? What's your world like? Was it like the way it used to be? No, exactly. But because the next month after 2012, December whatever 21st, everything seemed to be the same, then it's like the Mayans were wrong. The Mayans had 5,000-year calendars. We have calendars that last a year. They're 5,000 years. So you don't look at it 24 hours later or a year later. So yes, they were right. So the Mayan, there was a new prophecy, not a new prophecy, newly discovered prophecy. Tortuguero. You'll find it on the internet. It's very easy. And it said, and I've told you this, But I just realized this weekend, oh my God, they were so right. It said that the ending of the cycle, which is where we're at, was going to be the worst thing, that what was going to create the biggest issue was going to be when the dark side of humans was revealed for all of us individually. And what do you think is happening with the whole sex trafficking thing? Every day there's a new person from Hollywood talking about how they were blackmailed sexually. They can't function the same ever again. They didn't function after that happened. We just weren't aware. That's the Tortuguero prophecy. We're going to go down because of the sheer volume of people that their dark side has been exposed. And that's what the Tortuguero prophecy says. The dark side would come up because it was always there. So they were right again. So, according to that prophecy, what's going to take this country down, and maybe the world, is the revelations of the dark side. And it's very obviously the sex trafficking, and then after that, the stealing. I'm noticing with the stuff that's coming out in the Diddy trial, well, it's totally like that's mind control. All that yuck stuff, all that making you eat stuff, all that sex, all that perversion, all that blackmail, all that shame, that's a cult. The military mind control is a cult. So we've been controlled by cults. What's the common denominator in cults? Sex? Sex! So you read my book? Oh, you didn't buy my book. Sex, we need to figure this out. Well, I figured it out. When you have the really bad spirits enter via bad sex, and the entire country is affected by really bad sex, including pornography or lack of sex. Read the book, Sex, We Have to Figure This Out. I think I've sold 20 copies. How did that happen? The spirits, the ones that wake up at night when you have cancer, the spirits, because they are always awake. What wakes up is the cancer cell because the spirit that is dominating it wakes up. Jesus Christ took out first the spirits. We cannot talk about that. And I'll repeat and then I finish. Lost my train of thought because I read somebody's question on the chat. I would like for my handler to be picked up. I would like for somebody to come up with a plan and the funding in order to be able to get. It can happen in a week because it's no. Everything that is really true and important is very simple. If you have to describe something in several sentences or paragraphs, you don't really have a grip on it. I'm not talking about making a bomb or making an airplane. I'm not talking about that. Universal concepts, things that are important to human beings at a human level. It's simple. I cannot make it happen on my own. I definitely cannot make it happen when I am the one who is in jail. I am in jail. Why am I in jail? Who is not doing their job? Well, we're working on it. We're getting those guys. Well, you know what? As you're working on it, a third world war potential is developing. So I am not asking to get out of jail to get my nails done, which would be really nice because it's important to me. Or to have my hair done professionally because I had to do it myself. Came out good. It's good. Saved $100. I don't need to save $100. I have work I have to do and I need to get out of jail. So whoever needs to arrange for that, why don't you go ahead and start arranging for it? Because it has to do with World War. It has to do with the survival of the United States. It has to do with the survival of the Gulf of America. Maybe you'll be sorry, Trump, that you decided to name it the Gulf of America, because I think real yuck stuff is going to start to happen there. And it doesn't have to happen. There is knowledge that is centuries old that is applicable, and it's really simple, and it doesn't cost a ton of money. The seafloor collapsed, and that happened months after I was saying something's going on underneath the waters in the Gulf of Mexico. So I obviously have some information that's valid, that has been proved. I predicted a new fault line in New York City that will be the reason why that part of the United States is going to separate according to maps that were done hundreds of years ago. It was predicted. Okay. I'm not going to do mantras with you. I'm angry, I'm pissed, I'm too cold, the air conditioning's too cold. And when I get nervous, I get cold. And this is not good because when I lived in Tibet, it was too cold. My mother, stepmother, sent me, turned me over to the military in Germany to go on a trip. She didn't know where, but they did. I apparently tell her I needed a really warm coat. And you know what she did? She took out the lining of the coat. So I was on a plane on the way to Tibet, which I'm sure we stopped in two other countries before we got there, in a coat that didn't have a lining. In the back of a plane where there were no seats. There were like benches on the side, which I guess are military transport. If I keep talking, I'm going to start crying. Get this taken care of. Whoever it is that has the ability, get it taken care of. And get it taken care of now, because we're talking about a world war. We're talking about a seafloor collapse. And we're talking about the fact that I'm not saying, like, you know how dumb we are in this country? There's an accident, a plane accident. We have to wait for the report. It takes 2 years for the report to come in. They have remote viewers. I remote viewed for them. We can remote view in 15 minutes. The report will come out in 2 years. We don't need to do that. We could start this in a week, but somebody needs to get their act together. Okay? And if you don't quit with the whole Jesus Christ thing and the whole lie about him never having sex, we are going to have more generations of women who don't have a problem giving up on their sex life, because after all, Jesus, that everybody thinks is the epitome, he didn't. The lies, that's why we're in Revelations. I would just like for this to end differently. But they say in the Bible, they say they don't know when it's going to end. They also don't know how it's going to end, because humans have free will. Pick up my handler, get Miami cleaned up, ask the mayor of Coral Gables where this guy is, because he may not know, but they were friends. Okay? Get this taken care of. Whoever it is that has authority that could be listening, we have several countries that listen to my podcast. And then we have 8 regular people that listen. Okay. Bye.